The Health Department and a Ministerial Advisory Committee are considering treating critically ill COVID-19 patients with the breakthrough drug dexamethasone. Studies have shown it can be life-saving for those on ventilators. We find out how it works now from Health Department's Deputy Director General, Dr. Anban Pillay. Dr. Pillay, thank you very much for joining us. We understand it's been in use since 1960s. What exactly is it and how does it work?
Hi, good afternoon to you and to your viewers. Dexamethasone is a corticosteroid which is used effectively to suppress inflammation. In the case of COVID-19, patients have what's referred to as a cytokine storm. And so an anti-inflammatory such as a corticosteroid will be very effective in dealing with that. And so this trial that was done in the UK basically tried to use this corticosteroid and understand how effective it's been. They found it to be very effective in reducing mortality, particularly in patients who are on ventilation and those that are on oxygenation. So those are the two groups of patients, particularly those that are critically ill in hospital, who have derived benefit from the use of dexamethasone injection.
What is the process in embracing a new drug, especially now with the fight against COVID-19?
As you mentioned, dexamethasone is quite an old drug. It's actually been around long before I was even born, and it's quite effective in inflammation. So we've been using it for asthma, we use it for arthritis, and many other conditions. So it's quite widely available both in the public and the private health system in South Africa. So it's really available within the health system. Clearly, we now have to ensure that clinicians are aware of the use of dexamethasone in these groups of patients. And given the clinical scenario that they presented with, they may choose to use dexamethasone in that context. I must say, though, we're also looking to see the final results of the clinical trial relating to dexamethasone, because what we had is an announcement from the researchers about their findings, but not actually the data relating to the findings. But nevertheless, we have sent out an advisory to clinicians to consider the use of dexamethasone, particularly in patients that are ventilated on COVID or those that are on oxygen therapy.
How safe is it, and just how much dosage would one need if you're on a ventilator?
So the trial used a low dose of around 6 milligrams per day. That's a fairly low dose. Corticosteroids generally have a few side effects. The most common that many patients complain about is an increased appetite, and that usually results in patients complaining that they're eating too much. There is also the problem of irritability. There may be heartburn, etc. Those are usually common problems with corticosteroids. We anticipate that the benefit that one would derive with dexamethasone could also be derived from other corticosteroids within the same class. So prednisolone is another example of a corticosteroid, or hydrocortisone, which may also be used. And they produce the same effects as well as they have the same side effects.
Are you satisfied that we have enough of it? You mentioned that it's something that we widely use in South Africa, and just how affordable is it?
It's been around for such a long time that it's extremely affordable. It's one of the cheaper drugs that we have available. In terms of quantities, there's sufficient quantities of the intravenous formulation. There is also, as I was mentioning, alternative within the class, which is hydrocortisone, for example, which can be used. And there are oral formulations of prednisolone, which may be used as well. So there's adequate amounts of the drug certainly available to treat patients. Remember that this is not for all patients that are going to be having COVID, but only those who are critically ill, that are on a ventilator or receiving oxygen therapy.
Thank you very much for that. The Health Department's Deputy Director General, Dr. Anban Pillay.